things you can do with a tool like this that's kind of fun is you can take like a Dutch Rose cup and cut the bottom off of it. You can use it to create some string, and it's good practice if you're trying to practice cutting rawhide. It's very similar. It's a very tough material, and I always get it started to even out the chatter from where cutting it off is an issue. And once you've made most of a circuit, you can just balance the amount of tension. If you get too much tension on it, you can snap it, especially if the blade is chattering. But you can learn to balance the amount of friction and take something that is trash and turn it into something that you can create artwork with. So this material is about 1/3 of a millimeter thick. And you can cut the bottom out of. Now, the thick part down here is really hard to use because it's cantilevered in. But you can cut in here all the way around the bottom. And it's pretty good practice. Let you practice what it's like to cut rawhide. There's lots of ways to strip plastic string from bottles, but I haven't seen too much about how to do it with cups. The nice part is this is a tapered cone, so but you have to keep the right amount of tension and friction and balance them. And it's balancing those two things that allows you to strip consistent string. So this makes a clear material that's braidable, or you can do all sorts of things with it. You can also just bundle it up. And you can get 30, 40 feet of roughly 1/8 inch string out of a cup that's continuous. I'm bigger into reuse than recycling. If I can make use of something again without trying to pulverize and melt it, I think it's something better to do. that you can take stuff that is trash, people throw away all the time, and make use of it. But these medium cups from Dutch Bros or whatever, these medium cups are a third of a millimeter thick. And if you cut the bottom out, it's going to have a lot of weird gotchas because you can't get it that well. But you can start it on here and try and get it to even out. And it's easier to do that in the slightly thicker part of the cup down at the bottom. And you don't want to drag your thumb through the blade for sure. Which is always a risk. Hi. So once you get out of the very bottom measurement area, and then if it's jamming up on you, just back it up a hair. If you get the tension wrong or yank on it, it'll break. So that helps teach you the amount of friction to add when you're pulling leather through this tool or rawhide to try and avoid damaging when you're recutting rawhide. You can use this as a simulated rawhide. And your hand shapes will help you not overstress the material. And those same hand shapes are very useful if you're resizing leather strips. And then you've got smaller amounts of waste, and you can make use of the string. This is breathable material. It feels a lot like rawhide. When you're playing with it, you can use it to practice knots, and you can dye it or paint it or whatever. It's just kind of a fun thing that you may want to think about doing. But there's about 30 foot of string there that's continuous. And you can also, you notice this is very wiggly and very curly. You can run it just over the top here. The opposite direction. And try and take some of the bend out of it. If you spin it round, you can spin it into twine. And you can make really interesting bracelet type things. Depending on the plastic it's different strengths. So you can do all sorts of interesting things with it. Um, but you can take some of the twist out of it by warming it up by pulling it through with a lot of friction in your fingers. This is Kevlar thread or Kevlar yarn, and it'll it'll pick up the charge and run with it. Anyway, just an interesting idea that may be of interest to somebody out there. Thank you.